Welcome everyone to the AQUA Record Time webinar. We're glad you could join us. My name is Brent Shedd. I'm the founder and CEO of Record Integrity, which is the company behind the RecordTime app. And also on the webinar we have Dan DePartolo from Advantage Software, the makers of AQUA. So today we're going to talk about the RecordTime app, and we'll cover a few minutes on what it does, why it's necessary, how it works, and then Dan's going to step in and he's going to share how the integration with the AQUA software operates. If you have questions along the way, please feel free to type them into the questions box, and we will get back to you with the answers to your questions. I'll try not to go too quickly here, but first I just want to talk a few minutes about the why. Why is the RecordTime app necessary? The reality is, I ran agencies for 20 years, agencies of all sizes, most recently at J. Walter Thompson, and I was constantly confounded by the realities of the difference between what the employees needed to do their jobs and what the corporation needed to do its job. So I decided to create a solution to solve those problems, and the most pressing problem was, not surprisingly, around timesheets. Everybody dislikes doing their timesheet. The reason for that has a lot to do with why you hired them. Most of the employees at ad agencies today, if I'm a copywriter, you hired me to write copy. You didn't hire me to fill out a spreadsheet that is, enumerated with job numbers and client codes and activities and all that kind of stuff. I just don't tend to think in those terms, and so I dread having to do that, and so I put off doing that for as long as I possibly can. And then, of course, when it comes time to fill out those sheets, I don't actually remember what I was doing very well, so I do my best to input whatever details that I can, and I realize that it's faulty, and I'm sorry about that, but at the end of the day, I view my value to the organization as providing you the copy that you hired me to do. Why is that a problem? Not surprisingly, as you all know, the time, the data that goes into the system is at the core of everything that the agency does. We can't run an agency if we've got faulty data in the system. The AQUA system cannot provide the reports that we need for staffing, for pricing deliverables, for anything really. If it has bad data in the system, it truly is at the core of what we do. So that was why we focused on, let's solve the time thing first, and then we'll move to the other problems in the organization later. But we've got to get the time thing solved. And the real key to it is we've got to extract what everybody is doing out of them and get that accurately into the system. And unfortunately, the ways that we do that today are not effective, right? So I know at JWT, at Gray, at Ogilvy, if you didn't get your timesheets in, it starts with the emails from finance and actually from leadership telling you you've got to get your timesheet submitted. If you don't respond to that, then we start to go down the draconian measures. We shut off your email, or we shut off your Wi-Fi. I'm sure we would probably do other things if we had access to it. But either way, the reality is it's not successful. It hurts employee morale. It hurts the organization. It's hard to work effectively when your email's been shut off, right? And it's a hassle to get it back turned on again and everything else. But the organization has to do something, right? We have to get that data out of the employees. What we weren't doing was thinking about this from the employee's perspective. And that's exactly where we went when we developed the RecordTime app, is instead of telling the employees, get your timesheets in, we started asking the employees, what would it take for you to give us the data that you need? Or what would it take for you to tell us what you were working on? And we tried a lot of different possibilities. We tried, asking them to select a client, and we basically tried moving the timesheet system onto the mobile phone, and the reality is the majority of employees pushed back against that. They just simply, it was too complicated, it took too much time, they weren't going to do it, right? So we tried to simplify it as much as possible, kept getting pushback, finally wound up, I just straight up asked them, guys, if I ask you what you worked on the past hour, would you tell me? And the answer was, well, of course, I'm going to tell you. And I said, okay, so then if your phone asked you, would you tell it? And the answer was, yes, I would tell the phone if it asked me, as long as I didn't have to speak in some foreign language or, follow some particular structure. If I could just tell it in my own words what I was working on, I would do that. Okay, so that's what we created, was the RecordTime app. It is designed with that in mind. We use the native notification feature, whether it's on the iOS platforms, the iPhone, or on Android. We use the notification feature to ping the employee at the end of, it's either at the end of an hour or it could be at the end of every 5 minutes or 15 minutes or even once a day. You establish that in the settings. We recommend every hour. And responding to the notification is super, super simple. You can actually respond right at the notification level, as you see here on the Android version. The same capability is available on iOS, where you can press record new if you want to make a new recording. Or if you're doing the same activity that you were doing last hour, you just hit same as last. That's it. I mean, it literally takes seconds, right? So if you need to record a new entry, that's what happens here. You touch record new, it opens up a screen. On the iOS version, it's automatically listening. You don't have to push anything. You just speak to the phone and you tell it exactly what it is that you were working on in your own words. On the Android version, because of the difference in software, you have to press the little microphone button, but it literally is that simple. We use the native voice recognition or speech recognition technology, so it is very accurate, I will admit. And if you are recording an entry and you want to edit it because you said something you didn't mean or it heard you incorrectly or whatever, you just touch the screen, your keyboard comes up, and you can edit it right there. If you don't want to speak to the device, if you're, in the bathroom or something, and you just want to put it in a, use text, that's fine. Just touch the screen. It immediately recognizes that you want to enter text. The keyboard comes up, you enter your entry, and you press the check mark, and it goes. If you have your sound turned on, you'll hear a little musical note when you press submit. If your sound is turned off, you won't. At the end of the day, we have a different musical note to kind of congratulate you on finishing all of your entries for the day, and we try to kind of keep it a little bit fun there. The app is also very focused around data accuracy. So for instance, it is constantly checking your primary calendar to make sure that the events and the activities that you have entered in your calendar are in fact happening. And 50% of the time, they don't happen. So what will happen is, in this case, we have a call that was scheduled from 12 to 1. At 1, you can actually see the time on the phone at 1 o'clock. The RecordTime will serve up a little notification that's asking, hey, did this actually happen, yes or no? If the answer is yes, great, that's it. That's your entry for 12 to 1. If the answer is no, then it will bring up this screen and ask you, okay, then what did happen? And it wants you to record what it is that you spent that hour working on. What it doesn't do is delete anything from your calendar. What it will do is create a second entry next to the existing entry that has exactly what you said that you worked on for that hour. And that way you never lose any data that is placed in your calendar. If you want to choose to delete it later, that's fine. But it will not, the RecordTime app does not delete or move any data that is in your calendar. It's just focused on getting accurate data into your calendar. A feature that is on the Android app, and unfortunately Apple does not allow us to have the feature on the iOS app yet, is around phone calls. So if you are making or receiving phone calls, and this is only during the operating hours that you've set the app to work. If you make or receive a phone call, when that phone call is over, the app will ping you with a notification here that you see. This is the Android. And when you tap on that notification, it's going to ask you whether you want to enter that call into your calendar or not. Obviously, if it's a personal call, you may say no, and that's it, it's gone. If you say yes, then it simply gives you the chance to either say or type what the call was about, and then it enters it into your calendar. So it's very simple. It's really, really focused on capturing what it is that you do throughout the day, but it is only interested in what you've done. It doesn't care about what you plan to do, because we all know, how do you make God laugh? Make plans. But you can't change the past. The past is done. It's set in stone. It's only focused on you telling it what it is that you did, and that is what we bill. The home screen, as you see here, on the left is iOS, on the right is Android. Shows a variety of different information. You'll see here at the top is a ranking, and there are a variety of ranks. In the center of the screen, you see the streak, and we'll talk about that. And then you also have different screens that you can navigate to from this home screen. Down on the bottom, you see there's time tracking, and then there's achievements. The achievements, the streak, and the ranking are all gamification features of the app that we'll talk about here in a second. But it's necessary to note that on the iOS version, so the iPhone version, there is a little notification there down on the screen that tells you, it's just a reminder. It's not an error message or anything. It's a reminder that just basically says, don't do the typical double tap swipe up thing that we do with so many of our apps that basically shuts them down. You don't want to shut the RecordTime app down, because if you do so, it can't continually check your calendar and verify the events and things that you have in your calendar. It does not impact your battery running in the background. In fact, I actually read an article in, I think it was TechCrunch or USA Today, that it actually uses more battery to shut down those apps on your phone that you use regularly than it is to leave them running in the background. So this is an example of an app that you want to leave running in the background. Let's talk a little bit about the gamification features here. The streaks are, you may be familiar with how streaks operate from different mobile games that exist today. You develop a streak by completing all of your entries in consecutive days. If you miss an entry, you don't complete all of your entries on a particular day, your streak is reset to 0 the next day. So it becomes a very compelling feature to remember to complete all of your entries every single day. And there are rewards around that we'll talk about here in a second. And obviously the notifications are helping you to remember to get your time entered so you don't forget to get your entries in. But the streak is just a well-accepted, well-understood, and very motivating way of getting people to get all of their time in and remember to do so in consecutive days. Other gamification elements of the app include the ranking feature. If you tap on here, I'll go back to this side here. You'll see on the rank up on both of these, there's the little I dot there. The reality is you can touch anywhere in that area, and it will pull up this screen here that shows you the company statistics, and it shows you who is, well, it basically shows you how many of any rank there are. And this is my app, so this is my screen and it's just me, but I'm doing pretty well. I'm already at a trainee. The point is, you can't drill down to see who is a newbie or who is a rookie. You can see how many of those there are within the organization, and you know what your ranking is, so it gives you a way of knowing whether you are lagging the pack or leading the pack or somewhere in the middle. And the research that we did with employees and all of these features came through research with actual employees to find out what would be compelling to them. There is a very competitive aspect of ranking that employees find a lot of fun. But that said, this is on your phone. It's your data, and we don't want to violate that privacy. So that's why we don't give you the ability of drilling down to see who is ranked as what. If you want to share with someone who your ranking is or what your ranking is, that's fine. That's your option. But otherwise, this is really just a way of for you to see where you're at within the organization. The way that you achieve rank is tied to the elements that make for successful time entry. So we all know that you can best remember what it is that you were working on in the near term, right? So what I mean by that is at 11:01 in the morning, I am better able to tell you what I spent the past hour working on than I could at 4 o'clock that afternoon. I could still guess what I was working on, but the reality is I might get it wrong, right? So we designed ranking to be a reward system for individuals who record their time quickly. So you advance in rank by recording your entry within the hour that you receive the notification. Pretty simple, right? But what it does is it incentivizes a behavior that is crucial to the accuracy of the data, which then benefits the organization and helps everybody involved. We also have achievement badges. Achievement badges, there are about 20 of them, and they cover everything from the general usage of the app as well as like very specific features. So in this case, there are badges that celebrate longer-term usage of the app. Like you'll get a badge when you've been using the app for 5 days, whether they're consecutive or not. You'll get a badge for your 20th day of usage, your 100th day of usage. But then we also have streak clubs, right? So when you reach a streak of 30 days, you win the 30 streak club badge. We always have your personal best badge on there that shows the highest streak that you have attained. And then we also have fun badges like the anniversary badge, which is tied to how long the agency has been in business. When you achieve a streak equal to the number of years that the organization, that the agency has been in business, you win the anniversary badge. So it's kind of fun, and more importantly is it gives the organization a chance to now incentivize timekeeping, right? Because you can tie events to ranking. Like you can have a pizza party for everybody that has a rank of trainee or above, or you could do an ice cream social for everyone who has achieved the anniversary badge, or you can, there are just an endless number of ways of incentivizing timekeeping through the app, which now changes the paradigm around timekeeping from it's all stick, no carrot to there's a lot of carrots here. Like there's a lot of reasons to be recording my time throughout the day. They've made it easy, and I can see how close I am to achieving what it is that they're incentivizing. So another key feature that is available is customizing the achievements. This is an example. These are Wieden+Kennedy's badges, achievement badges. And what you can do is essentially educate your workforce on the history and the culture of the agency by using that data and those images and those icons for the achievement badges. The milestones stay the same, but the imagery changes and the copy changes. And you can see here there's an example of the giant 8-foot beaver that exists in Wieden+Kennedy's lobby. People are very passionate about it, and the whole beaver's concept is, it's actually called Beaver Story, is what the sculpture itself is called. And so, that's what you win for your first voice entry, is you get the Beaver Story badge. So it's just a really fun way of personalizing the app to the agency, draws the employees into the whole experience, and educates them on the history and the culture of the agency and what's important and what they should know, to the point that, they can get very passionate about different elements of the agency itself, and it even creates a little stickiness factor for employment. So a bit of fun there. Something that is not done yet, but it will be rolling out in the near future, is the ability for employees to rate their day. So if you complete all of your entries for the day, when you finish your final entry, we're going to serve you a little image, and this is not final artwork. This is FPO, but you're going to be able to basically touch an emoticon and record how your day went. And that's not going to show up in your calendar. This is a separate feature, but it has a lot of benefits to it, right? A, it's very simple to do. I just touch the happy face if I had a great day, or a meh face if it was, it was good and bad, or, the sad face if it really was not a very good day. Or you know what, if I just don't want to record my mood right now, I just hit the close. And it goes away. I can toggle this feature on and off in the settings. Super simple to do. And if I want to see how things have been going for myself, I can open up the personal statistics screen, and that's going to show me how I've rated every day so far this week, and how I rated every day last week. And it's also going to show me my average for the month and my average for the year. So I can start to see, am I overall in a pretty good place, or am I just not so good? And, it's a way of recording the employee data that's actually very hard to get at, because today, as you all know, employee morale data is hard to get at. You're either using kind of hearsay through the office, or you're using, sometimes the agencies that are really on top of it are using like quarterly surveys that they'll send out. I'll be honest, at many of the larger agencies, we did annual surveys. Sometimes we would do biannual, but either way, we're asking you to rate your past 6 months of how things have been going for you on a particular day, and we all know that's not accurate. Those individuals are responding to however they're, how things have been going over maybe the past week, but in terms of over the past 6 months, come on, you can't expect that to be terribly accurate. This is a super easy way of capturing that data, and where this is going is eventually we're going to unlock the option for individuals who achieve a certain rank, and we haven't really settled on what that rank is, but when you achieve a certain rank, it tells us that you know how to use the app. Like, you're responding quickly, you've done it quite a while, you know how to use the app. We're going to unlock the opportunity, it's not required, but the opportunity for you to go ahead and rank every entry, right? So if I spent the past hour working on a communication plan, I can select the happy face, I love doing this, or the angry face, this really sucked, like I hate doing this stuff, or the meh face or whatever, and submit that. And now you can see how we could start to get some really critical data, right, around not just the what, that I had a good day or a bad day, but the why. What was it that caused my day to go bad? And you can start to track that now towards HR details around, when I look at my personal data, I can start to see that there are activities that I just really enjoy doing, and there are things that I just really don't enjoy doing. And that may point in the direction of a career change. I may be an account person who just really loves doing project management kind of stuff. And if the data is there for me to objectively look at and realize, wow, I'm really happiest when I'm doing more project management oriented things, it can help with career development, right? And you can also see how it can help with clients and projects. If there are particular clients or there are particular projects that across the organization are getting angry poo-poo faces, there's something wrong with that client or with that project, and it warrants some investigation to find out what's going on. You want people to enjoy working on the business. You want them to have fun with the projects that they're doing. This gives you a tool to understand what is going on inside the organization. So anyway, that is coming soon. And of course, we'll have agency-wide anonymized data that will be provided. We'll also give employees the chance to provide their feedback non-anonymized, should they choose to do so. But that will always be their option to do that. And there's a big difference, right, between somebody taking the data. If I've been recording that I'm having really great days or I'm having really bad days, that's the more important element, to be honest. If I'm choosing that I had a really bad day and I've had a really bad month, for me to be able to give the app the indication that, yes, go ahead and share this, it's unlikely that I'm going to approach my manager and sit down and say, I just want to tell you things aren't going well, I'm not very happy, whatever. I'm probably unlikely to do that. And this is coming from 20 years of experience. But if my manager comes to me and says, hey, I got your details that you shared. It looks like things are not going very well. Do you want to talk about it? Yeah, I do want to talk about it. That's why I shared that, and thank you for coming and sitting down so we can actually talk about it. It can, again, we're just trying to close that gap between the employee and the employer, right? To draw those employees deeper into the organization that they spend so much time at. Make sure that they're getting credit for all the work that they're doing, and just create a much more successful environment. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about ROI. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I do want to say that, that was a swirling graphic there, because this app is really, really strong at capturing all of the hours that everybody works. And it is crazy for agencies today to realize that their employees are not logging all of the time that they're working on clients' businesses, and they're not doing it because we haven't given them the tool to do so. And this is time that's been worked. It's already there. It's already in the bank, but we're just not cashing it out. We're not billing the clients for it. It's a lot of time. As you can see here, a 15-employee company is prone to losing $1.6 million in yearly revenue because of lack of capturing that time. So, relative to ROI, we need to be thinking about what we're losing by not doing anything. It's also true that people spend an inordinate amount of time on timesheets. And this is data directly from my time at JWT, we had those employees who would literally just sit down and they would just punch stuff into the timesheet system. Horribly inaccurate. They didn't care. They just wanted to get back to the job that we'd hired them for, and they were just focused on getting 8 hours a day into the timesheet system, and they were totally gaming the system, right? They were looking for, I think I've got more time on this job than that job. It's completely divorced from what time I actually spent on those jobs. I'm just trying to get 8 hours in a day. Okay, that's the reality. That sucks. That doesn't help anybody. In fact, it really hurts the organization because it gives us bad data on deliverables. We don't know how much stuff is costing us. We don't know whether we're making money or not. And then you've got those employees who are really good about it. They really want to provide the accurate data, and so they're spending up to, in some cases, an hour and a half going through emails to try and sleuth out what in the world it was that they were doing from 10 to 11 o'clock in the morning 2 weeks ago. That's awful. That is soul destroying. And we realize that, and that's why they hate doing this timesheet business. And when you think about it, the integration that Dan is now going to talk about between the RecordTime app and the AQUA system, it saves that ton. It prevents them from having to do all that. So you can imagine the kind of morale boost that can provide when they no longer have to worry about sleuthing out what it is that they've spent all the time doing. So that's an ROI factor too, is all the time that now becomes billable. And the reality is that Advantage has made it super, super easy to take advantage, pun not intended, to take advantage of this integration, because it's not a separate bill, it's not a separate customer service team, it's not separate support, it's all through Advantage. It's all, truly integrated and provided directly through all of your pre-existing channels and contacts. Nothing changes for you. So now Dan is going to come in and he's going to talk a bit about what that integration looks like and how easy it is to bring the time from your calendar, the RecordTime has stored there, and to port that into the timesheet so everything is captured and we have complete data accuracy. All right, thanks for your attention.
Thanks, Brent. So you just saw how easy and efficiently you can capture time by simply speaking into your phone. Now, those entries that you've spoken into your phone will go up to your calendar. In this case, I'm looking at a Google Calendar, and here are the entries that may have been put up from simply speaking into your phone. Let's see how easy it is to get these entries into the WebVantage timesheet. Now, this will work with any kind of calendar. I'm going to go to my timesheet in AQUA, and I'm going to go to Copy From My Calendar. A one-time setup will connect the calendar to your WebVantage account. Once that's done, it's simply a matter of getting calendar time, selecting the day or range of days that you want to get the entries for from your calendar, and get the selected days. And here are the entries directly from my Google Calendar. Now it's just a matter of assigning it to the correct job number. And we'll grab the first couple here. I'm going to select those, and I'm going to update my timesheet by inserting the rows onto my timesheet. And you see in the background here that those entries are now in my timesheet, and they have disappeared from the list that I've gotten from my Google Calendar. In the actual entries, the comments will be what you had spoken into your phone. And the hours are also picked up. It's that easy. Now in this case, you notice that everything is in 1 hour increments. That's because that's the way that phone was configured to remind me to do the actual entries. If you're working on several jobs within that 1 hour period, then you can just speak that when you're putting that entry in, and then that information would come here, and then it would just be a matter of breaking it up in 15 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever the increments are, and create additional entries for that particular hour-long period. You could always go back, copy from my calendar, and then see the entries that you had not yet assigned to your timesheet. So that is it. It's actually, as you see, very simple to add entry to your timesheets using the combination of the RecordTime app and then the integration with the WebVantage software. If you have any questions at all, please contact us, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. Or you can go directly to the App Store and download the app onto your phone and start using the integration. Setting up the integration is quick and easy, and the Advantage software support team or implementation team can help you with those settings. Hope you enjoyed the webinar. Thanks very much.